Hi everyone! In today's video I'd like to show you this Christmas gift set that I bought for myself. It's from Dolce & Gabbana. It's filled with goodies and actually it pretty much encapsulated my profound belief for the Christmas season, which is very much that Christmas is a time for keeping, which is why I bought it for myself. So watch on! So this is what it looks like. It's a nice sturdy box, came really nicely boxed up from Harrods, very carefully packed. And this is what we get. So we get the Everink liner, 24 hours, precision liquid liner, they say. We get a third of the normal volume of the black mascara, which is the Everfill XL mascara. I haven't used either of these products before, which is why I was interested. And then we get the star of the show, which is Amber Venus in the eyeshadows. This is actually what I went online to buy because I had kind of swatched it and had a good look and flirted with it sort of for over a few days. But then I saw it was in this coffer and I kind of thought, okay, now's an opportunity to try some other products. I'm not really a black eyeliner, liquid eyeliner person anymore. However, because I'm kind of going through a slightly deeper lipstick phase, I did think that could be a sort of a future, a future good look for that. At any rate, I'm now off camera to spare you watching me screw my face up and go cross-eyed. I'm now going to take these products out of the box and I'll be back. So here is what the Everink liner looks like. It's so pretty, isn't it? And at first I thought, I was giving it a shake, and at first I couldn't tell, is it my bracelets making the noise or is it this? And actually it was both. So if I shake it in this hand, it's got the little balls in to keep it liquid, presumably. And let's try taking this off and let's see what the liner's like. Like that. It's quite a firm, yeah, okay, that's good for me because I do want a thin line. It's got a proper tip, but it is a firm, it's a firm brush. Now, this is meant to dry super quickly and it's meant to be transfer and smudge proof and 24 hours wear. Let's give it a chance to dry on my hand and then we can see if it stays as black as it looks. Then there's the mascara, which I definitely will try today. Again, same sort of packaging, and I don't know what this looks like. Oh, okay, like that. It's got like a helter-skelter kind of brush. It's meant to be good at getting into the little lashes as well as the long lashes, and it's got Calabrian orange. I thought that was so exotic, which protects the lashes and depanthenol. Okay, so we'll try that afterwards. And then the star of the show, where I am concerned, I'm just brushing because it's, we're back to fingerprint territory. It is a bit annoying, but anyway. So the lovely packaging as we've seen before, and here we have Amber Venus. That's what it looks like. Just to show you by way of comparison, this is Chrome Star, which is the cooler colour story that I've reviewed before. So this one, which is Chrome Star, is described as sleek greys, and this one is iconic browns. Yeah, completely different. Now, let's see what the liner is doing. Is it dried yet? Don't think it's dried yet. We'll give it another little minute and then we'll have a look. Yeah, and we'll see how smudge proof it really is. I want to try these on with you. I'll tell you why I was really keen. I mean, to be honest, all three of the colour stories, and the third one I've written down is called Sophisticated Pinks. Let me know down below if you've tried any of these and which one you've tried and what you think of them, because I have to say I absolutely loved the first one that I bought. I've used it, I've enjoyed it. I just like the simplicity of quite an easy palette. And as you know, they divide the palette into kind of halves, and I will do the swatches now. But basically, the right-hand side is for day, so these two colours here, and then the left-hand side is for the evening. That's your crease shade, sort of the big shade here, and then you've got an interesting topper. Let's swatch them to have a look and let's see what they're like, and I can tell you why I was particularly interested in this palette. So here we have all the shades of iconic browns. Let me just show them to you. I've put all of them in the same kind of order. So we've got the crease shade here, and then on the left-hand side, the two designated more evening shades, and here the day shades, and then the lovely topper in the middle. Look at that beautiful kind of wet look of the topper. I hope it translates like that on the lid. I really do. But there's a kind of a lovely deep browny bronze for the night shade, or the evening shade rather. And then again, there's a lovely satin here, and then these gorgeous mattes. On a separate note, here's the eyeliner, and yeah, I'd say it's smudge proof. I think that's probably 5 minutes. I think, to be fair, it had dried quite a few minutes ago, but I'm just saying, after sort of 5 minutes, it's not going anywhere. So that's good as well. So I'm doing a day look and a night look, one on each side. I'm just starting with the crease shade, and as ever, it's going on actually just as smoothly as the neutral palette I bought. Now, on a previous video, I think it was the new Charlotte Tilbury palette. I've got it here. This one here, the one that I bought and reviewed, is Dreamy Bronzed Beauty. Somebody wrote, it was such a good thing to say, it looks like this. They said this kind of palette for her is an absolute slam dunk to buy because it's ideal for, quote, brainless mornings. And I thought that is such a good way of describing my Monday to Friday. Well, actually, it's a good way to describing every day, but especially, what is my working week generally. So I did kind of think, God, that's exactly what I like. I like a small palette, which is actually why the original Dolce & Gabbana that I bought was kind of, for me, it was kind of, I want a cool palette that's just, I don't have to think, and also isn't so enormous that everything becomes a big decision. I suppose that's still part of, not having to think. But so I did kind of think, okay, that really is where I'm at. I do love a big palette for lots of reasons, but there is something about the economy and the forced constraint of a smaller palette that is just, I find, very soothing. When I look at this, to me, that is like a warm, comforting blanket and a good bit of TV. It's just like, oh, okay, I can relax now. I know what to do. It's just very easy. So to that end, there's always going to be a place, isn't there, for these kinds of palettes that are kind of undemanding, really. But I do want enough of a bit of sparkle for me to feel that there's an option there, I suppose. So that's really how I felt, and it was this viewer that basically gave me the phrase, really. But that's really how I felt about wanting to try this particular colourway, in that it's just, a cool cloth on my forehead during the hurly-burly of the working week. It doesn't even have to be the working week, does it? It's, regardless of what you're doing, sometimes work is the respite. So, I think we've all been there. At any rate, I'm just putting this on in the crease. So where I am at over this kind of fall winter season, and as you can see, I'm literally now in my winter woolies, is basically, I love a full makeup look. I love it all, but browns and warm colours are kind of a set point, I suppose, for me. That's not to say I don't like cool colours. It's just there's something about that whole warm vibe. And that's why I thought this was worth sharing with you. Now, what I should tell you is I took a baby wipe when I just wiped my hand from the swatches when I was showing you. And I took another baby wipe to basically wipe off the eyeliner. It's not moving. Now, this could be good and bad, depending on, it's not going to move during the day, clearly, but how easy is it going to be to take off during the evening, at the evening? So I will let you know how hard or otherwise it is once it's on the eyes to remove, because I think that is important. But goodness me, I mean, I was not expecting that. I could have sat and scrubbed it off, but I don't think that's representative of what we want to do on our eyelids. And it's certainly not representative of what I want to do on my eyelids. So I thought that was worth kind of telling you about. But what a good sign. I just wish it came in brown, but I always say that, and I'm sure you're fed up of hearing me say that. So, I won't say it anymore. I'm just applying the light shade just with my finger, because I think we'll just get a better effect. I'm not saying I'm a finger fan, but there we go. Now, it was funny because I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was thinking, as I was doing this, and I was thinking, this is such an Hermes box colour, isn't it? And tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of something that I listened to on a podcast. And if you haven't listened to this podcast, you might be interested. It's called Acquired, as in, purchased. And they did, two guys who are fantastic, and the research is so amazing. And they basically mostly take one enormous company and think about and analyze both the growth of that company and how that company has perhaps acquired or has been either acquired other companies or has been acquired themselves, and how they kind of sit in the whole of their particular industry. I've just made it sound quite dull and quite dry, but it's really not, particularly the episode on Hermes. And that's kind of my thoughts kind of turned to that when I looked at the colour of my jumper. Because on the podcast on Hermes, one of the things they touch on, and I had to look it up actually, not because I didn't believe them, but because I wanted to find out more, was how as a brand, they have repeatedly tried to control the colour orange. Let's just pause and think about that. The colour orange, as in the colour, the shade, the colour that has existed since before man, you know. They've tried to control it so that no other company can use it as boxing or packaging or anything else. And they've had limited success. I mean, the EU and Japan have basically just said, no, you're not doing that, you know, because oranges, for example, are not kind of Hermes controlled, for example. And my jumper, because I'm probably in Europe, is not Hermes controlled. But there are other companies, there are other countries where they have succeeded. But it did occur to me that you might find that as interesting as me, because it's slightly bonkers, isn't it, really? It's a colour. Now, they purposely, the shade that they typically use, although there are different shades that they use for different parts of their business, but the shade that they typically use in their boxes and packaging is not a Pantone shade. And what that means is you or I can't say, oh, we want our walls to be Hermes, you know, Hermes walls. Let me just go and get that Pantone shade and get that paint made in that shade. We can't do that. But the other thing that I thought was fascinating, and I did find this out in the podcast, as I said, it is really good. They barely have a marketing department. It's basically organic marketing. I mean, you know, if those of us who kind of have spent a bit of time on social media will kind of see that in a way, as a brand, it kind of feels like it's in the ether, doesn't it? We kind of know about it, but not quite sure how. You know, they don't spend on advertising. They don't promote. They kind of don't have to. But even so, it's pretty amazing when you think of other companies like Dior or Louis Vuitton or any of those, you know, the big brands. We are aware of their marketing campaigns, as it were, to a lesser or greater extent. But I did think that was interesting. Anyway, the podcast is really worth listening. The only thing I would say is their podcasts are long, and this is what put me off them. When it was actually my son sent me one, and one of the early podcasts, I forget what it was, I resisted listening to it because it was 4 hours long. And I said to my son, I'm not interested in this kind of, you know, brosphere, these endless podcasts, which I have sometimes made the mistake of listening to before, although they've actually tended to be YouTube ones. And it's kind of like two blokes just going on and on and on. And I kind of said, I'm not going to listen to that. And he insisted and said, no, it's different, it's different. And as I did say to him, this is going to be my final chance for this. Actually, please don't be put off. The way I sort of see it is, it's like a kind of 8-parter, but they've kind of, you know, put it all in one go. It is content worth listening to if you're interested in that particular company and that particular sort of subject matter. But anyway, I just wanted to flag it up because they do an amazingly good job. They really do. The only thing I would say about the Hermes one is they don't focus quite as much as I would like on the beauty release when they sort of went into beauty in 2020. But I suppose that's kind of not as much of interest, given that it's a small percentage of, it's a very small proportion at the moment of Hermes's sort of entire takings. Most of it is, almost 50% I think, is leather goods, bags, as you would kind of expect. Although interestingly, the scarves, which, you know, when I was growing up was kind of 50% of their business or more actually, is now a scant 7% because the scarves are kind of, you know, out of favour. Now look, this is very nice. How easy is this for a brainless morning? I mean, it's lovely, isn't it? I'm not saying it's groundbreaking. I am saying it's really usable and the quality is lovely and there's no fallout and it's really easy. And the compact is kind of, you just got to lean into the 80s. I'm happy to lean into the 80s. But anyway, look, this is what it looks like. It's just easy, you know? It's just easy. Let's put this cheeky topper in the middle and see what it does. But I would be quite happy just using this with some lovely mascara. You're out the door. So let's just put a bit of this. Ooh, okay, there you go. If you wanted to do that, which actually I would still do that if I had a bit more energy on a brainless morning. It could be that I'm either brainless and energetic or brainless and definitely not energetic. But if I had a bit more energy, I would do that. I think that's lovely. We'll see what it's like with mascara. Let's go across to the other eye and see how we go. So I'm going to put this one on the lid. And let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that's quite a bit darker. I'm not into smoky eyes these days, not really. But you may well be, and this could be quite an easy smoky eye, actually, if it was a brainless evening, you know? Or you either put it on top after your working day, as it were. So that goes on quite smoothly, I think. I'll just get a brush to give it a little cheeky blend. Okay, so I've got another one of my Refa 14s. I've got a few of these actually, which is just as well because I go through them at the rate of knots. Okay, but anyway, do give that podcast a listen if you're interested. And as I said, it's not sort of bro-verse territory, although I do apologise to Joe Rogan if you're watching because, you know, I would probably class you in that territory. So I do apologise, but welcome to the channel. Okay, so now I've got my beloved Refa 21 and what I'll do is I'm going to put that into there for a little bit of brightness in the corner because, you know, I need it. I need someone to help me be a little bit brighter, generally. Okay, that's what that looks like. Now, the interesting comparison is with the Hourglass. Now, the one that I've got is Expressionist. That was the one that I reviewed. This is the difference between them. So Expressionist has got, well, it's all metallic, so that's, you know, that's a difference as well. But as you can see, you do get, really, you get more depth in this. I have used this. I do like this. I just feel it's overpriced for the packaging and everything else, but it is a lovely formula. It is. It's just that you get a little bit more punch, a little bit more pizzazz. Just so you can see the comparison, at the top we've got the 4 from Expressionist, the Hourglass, and beneath we've got all 6 shades of the Dolce & Gabbana, including the topper, which is there, which I think you can probably just about see. There we go. So as you can see, you've got 2 cool and 2 warm shades in the Hourglass, and the Dolce & Gabbana is all warm shades, but you do get the mattes. And I have to say, this shade here in the Hourglass, which is a kind of very nice pinky silvery shade, it's quite hard to wear on my skin tone during just a normal working day. It's quite bright. I mean, it does diffuse, but you know, when you're in a rush, and as we said, brainless mornings, you know, it's a little bit of work, but the formula is impeccable in these, as it is in the Dolce & Gabbana, but the formula is absolutely fantastic. It's just that, you know, as I've said before, the thing does, it's cheap packaging, and or it feels cheap anyway, and the lid doesn't stay up, and the mirror's not workable, and there's other things as well, but the formula is really good. Dolce & Gabbana, you know, no difficulty sort of articulating that, and there's a good mirror. So I know a lot of people find this a little bit too vulgar, or maybe a lot too vulgar. I just think I've kind of feel myself, I sort of lean into the vulgarity and now it looks positively minimalist. You see, that's what happens. I just, you know, I go out around the other, you know, I go full circle and come out the other end, as it were. At any rate, let's see. Now, for me, this is a bit too dark, but as I said, I'm not really a smoky eye person, but you know, that's just a personal thing. I'm not going to put the topper on top of this because I think it, for me anyway, it would be too much. weirdly, for daytime, like normal day work, this for me is actually rather nice and rather usable. What I like to do is I'm going to put a little bit underneath, a little bit of the deeper colours underneath, and then I want to try the eyeliner at least on one eye just to see what we get. What's it like, you know? So I'll use the day deeper shade on the day side and then take it from there. Now I do realise I've gone on about MS when we're actually should be talking about Dolce & Gabbana, but I don't know. In other news, the sequel of The Devil Wears Prada is going to be out soon, isn't it? So we can all have our Dolce moment then. Okay, right. I don't want to do more than that because, as I said, for work or just a normal kind of day, that's probably enough. It's just... Now I should tell you, I have been using the Dolce & Gabbana concealer. I think it's fantastic. I really do, and it doesn't crease, it doesn't do anything kind of very mature skin unfriendly sort of thing, you know? It just performs brilliantly. It's lovely, I love it. Even at the end of the day, it hasn't cracked, nothing's happened to it. And actually, plenty of times, not today though, I sort of take whatever's left on the brush and put it on my eyelid and use that as a kind of an eyeshadow base. And sometimes I've done that out of laziness because, as you know, generally I use the Lisa Eldridge Phoebe as an eyeshadow base, but it's still great as a base. It really is. So I'm just really, really pleased with it. The one that I have bought and I haven't tested yet is the new Chanel. Well, actually, that's not true. I have tested it once and it needed, it's not self-setting. So that's probably why I keep gravitating towards the D&G one. But anyway, I thought that was worth flagging up. Okay, now I'll just use the night side just underneath a little bit, and then we'll use the eyeliner. Okay, the eyeliner. So we've got Maracas here, and then we've also got the Victoria Beckham Maracas foundation as well, which is what I'm wearing at the moment. I really love this. It's so great. It's just so hydrating. It just stays beautifully. It lasts all day. It goes on like a dream. It's just no sweat. I'm shade 9 medium and it's kind of dead on for me. I just really, really love it. So let's give the eyeliner a go. I'm going to put it on my evening look eye, and I'm going to be really super careful and super thin with it. And then let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've put the eyeliner on. I do really like it. The thing that it's kind of reminded me why I stopped using eyeliner. It started when I sort of put it right in the corner, you know, of course it goes into the lines and it's not that flattering. However, the rest of it went on, it just goes on really smoothly, and I've got very, very crepey, dry eyelids. So, you know, as I said, I wish it came in brown, but anyway, I do like it. Let's try the mascara on now though, because that is the thing I have to say I'm really, really interested in. Now, remember, it looks like this. This is kind of a mini version, really. Presumably it's kind of that height. But it's still obviously got the full-size wand, and we can give it a go. It's black, it is refillable, and it gives us, I've written it down here, a 205, very specific, percentage increase in the volume of our lashes, apparently. Sweat-proof, that's good. Ultra glossy, impactful and fluttery lashes. So that's quite good, isn't it? Because oftentimes fluttery lashes kind of aren't that impactful, I have found. Anyway, the mascaras that kind of purport to be that. So let's see. Long lasting, and does it say smudge proof? No, it doesn't. It's sweat proof. Okay. So as I said, it's got this helter-skelter kind of wand. Can you see? It's can you see that? It sort of wraps round. What was the other mascara that did that? The Prada mascara did that, but had bigger gaps. Actually, I finished it, so I don't have it with me. But anyway, let's give it a go and see what happens. Okay, I can certainly see it is very, very black. It's definitely is it a glossy? I don't know whether I would say it was glossy, but it's a very black. Don't know what that means. And the wand is definitely separating the lashes, which I like. Okay, I have now put 2 coats of this mascara. It went on like a dream, I have to say. I wouldn't say it's fluttery, but I did do 2 coats. When it was just the one, as you saw, it is quite fluttery. I would say it's a full look. That's what I would say. Let me just bring you closer so you can have a look. Now, I put a bit more blusher on, and what have I got on? The Sakura 02 matte lipstick, and then the Dolce Gabbana gloss, which I do really like actually. Anyway, so here we are close up. Evening look, day look. Now the evening look, remember we've got the eyeliner on. And that's the day look with the topper. I didn't put the topper on the night look, remember. Which do you like? And do you like it at all? I mean, you might not. It might not be sort of impactful enough for you. I don't know. I mean, it's so individual, isn't it? For me, I find this, I think this has basically ticked the box for me in a kind of, you know, well, in a good way. I mean, it's kind of fulfilled what I want it for, which is a good daytime look that can also be made a bit more impactful. If not for the evening, then depending on what I'm wearing, if I'm wearing sort of something a bit darker and so on, then I probably want something a bit more impactful. I do like it just in exactly the same way as the more neutral shades. Everything went on really nicely. It's just absolutely lovely. The thing I am going to report on is the eyeliner. Much as I like it, I will report back, and I will put a comment on here as to how easily it came off and whether it came off easily with my kind of normal eye makeup remover. Ditto the mascara, because I have to say the thing that I could really feel with the mascara, that it really adhered to the lashes. Sometimes, and YSL lash clashes like that, I do feel it, and then of course it's quite hard to remove. So I will report back as to how that removed as well as the eyeliner, because that is important, because you know it's a hollow victory if you're kind of scrubbing away, and I kind of feel a little bit like that with the lash clash, even though I do really love it as a mascara, and I've sort of gone through several tubes of it actually. Yeah, so that's basically the finished look. I find this really easy, so I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased I tried it on. But let me know what you think. Packaging aside, do you like this formulation, and have you indeed bought them? I know the last time when I sort of originally did the neutral, quite a few of you sort of went out and bought had bought one over that period during the release kind of thing, both, you know, before I had done so in the video and sort of subsequently. So I'd love to hear what you think of the you know, the shade range that you bought, the colorway that you bought, and whether indeed you love it. And actually, are you a fan of either the mascara or the eyeliner? Because as I said, they're new to me. The next D&G thing that I want to try actually is the lipsticks, which I have kind of flirted with the lipstick one. So you'll probably be seeing those in forthcoming videos. So please subscribe, and thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the comments down below. Thanks so much. See you in the next video. Bye.